have a powerful new book coming out, Rebel Wealth. Can you tell me what this book, Rebel Wealth, is about?
Rebel Wealth, the book, the proper name is actually Rebel Wealth, the 12 Pillars of Wealth to Build a Life of Strength, Purpose, and Legacy. So it's in the title. I've identified 12 pillars that I feel define wealth and define what real, true wealth means. It's not just financial. It's 12 different areas of your life. Those are broken down into 3 foundations. There's 4 pillars per foundation. Strength, purpose, and legacy are the foundations.
Awesome. And what made you decide to write this book?
I decided to write the book because I was drifting. There was a time, actually 2024 was a very tough year for me. A lot of my investments had tanked. I was living on fumes. I had a demanding calling at church. I was just tapped in every area of my life. And there was a point where I was just ready to give up, in a sense. Not do anything drastic, just give up and just go through the motions of life. And I literally pulled my pickup into the garage one night after work, and I turned off the key and just sat there, almost in tears. And I thought, I can't do this anymore. I can't keep living like this. And that was late last winter, sometime around January. I kept mulling this over in my head. I hadn't really told anyone about how I was feeling. I just put on the smile and went to work, went to church, did all the things, but inside I was a wreck. And so I developed 8 areas of wealth initially, and it evolved from there, and I write down and take notes and different things. And then it evolved into 12. I nerded over it. I prayed about it and just felt like that's where it needed to settle. And then I started thinking about it more and discussing it with my wife, Melinda, and we determined that these kind of fit into categories of strength, purpose, and legacy. So there's 4 pillars per foundation. We call those foundations. And we were actually sitting at a lodge in Island Park one winter when we put the basic framework together. It was around March of this year. And so that's where the book came from. And I felt like there was people who were, gotta be people feeling the same way as I do. And I know there is.
So you said that wealth has nothing to do with money. That's going to catch people off guard. What do you mean by that?
Wealth is, financial is a piece of wealth. And of course, you can't live a full, rich, wealthy life without financial peace, without building a financial fence around your family, without having enough money to put food on the table. That's part of the peace of mind that money brings. Wealth is not money. Wealth is having your relationships in order, having a strong physical body, having a good connection with God, with Jesus Christ, with all areas of your life, with your family, your extended family, with your coworkers. It's more to me, and I think it is for most people, it's more than just money. It's more than toys. It's more than nice vehicles in the driveway. It's way bigger than that and way more encompassing when you think of wealth.
Thank you. So there are 12 pillars in the 3 foundations. Which of the 12 pillars do you see men neglecting most today, and what's the cost of that neglect?
So the pillars that I think men are neglecting the most is spiritual wealth. I think that as you get busy in your life, you forget God, you forget what he's done for you, you forget to pray, you just shelve that because you think, I'm doing all the things, why isn't God blessing me? Why aren't I having the success that I see my neighbors having, that I see other people having? So I think that's the first one that goes out the window. The next is relational wealth and physical wealth. There's a lot of people who are chasing the dollar, who are got maybe a multi-million-dollar business, but they're fat, out of shape, they're full of disease. And if they would just eat better and take care of their temple, your body's a temple. If you're not physically well, there's a saying, a fit man has many goals. A sick man has one. And if you're sick, you've only got one goal. That's to get better. But if you're fit and in shape, that's taken care of. Now you have a clear mind, you have a strong body, you can work late into the night, you can get up early, you can work out, you can do all these things. And so that's where I think the three things that people are falling on the most is physical, relational, and spiritual. Those are the three that if those aren't in order first, everything else falls apart.
Very good. Very interesting. You share a lot of personal stories in the book. Which one hit you the hardest?
The story that hit me the hardest, I might get choked up, is a story about my daughter Bailey. It was her birthday, and I just started a new job. And I was called, it was on a Saturday, it was her birthday, we had a whole day planned. Pizza, balloons, you name it, we were gonna have fun. And it was about 3 p.m. I can remember right where I was standing when I got the phone call. And it was my boss saying something had happened at work and I needed to come out. And it's Saturday. And I was new, I felt like I needed to do it. So I said goodbye, tried to tell Bailey that I was sorry, and I went to work. And it was a problem that honestly didn't need my immediate attention, and that's what made me mad, that I had sacrificed for that. As I was leaving the driveway, Bailey was upset, I was upset. And so 1 year later, to the day, now that was a Saturday, I don't remember what, it was a weekday. We planned her birthday and we were going all out because the year before it was a train wreck. And something had happened. I leave work at 4:00. Something had happened. It's 3:58. My boss is in my cubicle. Hey, something happened. I need you to stay late. And I said, nope, I'm not going to do it. What do you mean you're not going to do it? I said, 1 year ago, I said, today's my daughter's birthday. 1 year ago today, you called me out to work on my daughter's birthday and I missed it, and it broke her heart. And I said, I won't do it again. She said, you just need to do this. And I said, at 4:15, I will be on that bus. And if you want me to stay, you're going to have security arrest me and keep me here because I will be on the bus. And I walked out and never looked back. Nothing ever happened at work from that. She got the point that I was not going to break a promise to my daughter. And I don't think I ever did again.
Was that hard to stand your ground?
Oh, it was.
To your boss?
I remember coming home, telling Melinda I probably got fired today. And I was brand new. I'd only been there about a year. And she understood, but I was a wreck. I was just shaking as I walked out that day. But nothing ever come of it from her. Next day I showed up to work, or she never mentioned it, never brought it up again. And it was a very strong thing for me to do.
And how did you feel about that after making that decision? You realized you made the right choice.
Oh, I made the right decision. Absolutely. And it's given me conviction ever since. I read a book, Iacocca, about the life history or the biography of Lee Iacocca. Lee Iacocca worked for Henry Ford Jr. at the time. He was one of his top executives, and they were making buku bucks. They were millionaires. All those top executives were. There was something that happened to Ford that day. Lee Iacocca headed out the door to go home. Henry Ford came to him and said, hey, what's going on? You're going home. He says, you're right, I'm going home. My daughters, they were teenagers at the time. They had something going on, a party of some kind they were hosting at his house. And he's, dude, you got to stay and solve this problem. And he looked Henry Ford in the eyes and he said, this place can burn to the ground before I break a promise to my daughters. I read that clear back when I was in college because I was infatuated with manufacturing and Lee Iacocca and everything. In fact, I've read that biography a couple times. And that gave me the strength, I guess, that gave me the idea. I don't know, but someday I'll get to shake his hand and tell him how much that story changed my life.
Yeah, it sounds like it did. It took a lot of guts to do that.
Yeah.
For the guy listening who feels stuck or burned out or like he's missed his chance, what's your message to him? And maybe other people that are feeling the same way.
If You think it's too late, it's not. If you're on the top side of the grass, it's not too late. You're not too old, you're not too broken, you're not too far gone to make a change in your life, to read my book and look at the 12 pillars and go, I'm pretty good in this one, but this one I'm failing in. And to make a change, it's never too late to even go to your family, your wife, your kids, and say, the last few years, I've been a jerk, I've been a pain, and I'm sorry. I had my priorities messed up. Can we start with a clean slate and move forward? I guarantee you they will all say yes. Kids are very forgiving when they see vulnerability and humility in their parents. And they will forgive you like that. And you can move forward so long as you keep trying and pushing and moving forward and trying to improve your life in all these 12 areas that the 12 pillars outlines. It's never too late.
There's 12 pillars, so that's 12 areas. It could feel overwhelming. How can somebody take a step without it feeling overwhelming, being overwhelmed by it?
They build on each other. So strength is the first foundation. And I have a cheat card. I want to read these because I want to make sure I get them in order. And in strength, there is spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical wealth. In purpose, there's relational, purpose, adventure, and freedom. And in legacy, there's intellectual, financial, social, and legacy wealth. And so start at the first one, spiritual wealth. In your strength, you got to get right with God. You got to get right with reading your scriptures every day, doing all the things, praying, and getting that relationship right. And when you get that, the next one you move on to is your relationships with your family. And you just move down the list. Start with that one. Relationships. Next is physical. Work on your body. Eat better. Quit eating junk food so much. Go to the gym. Lose a few pounds. You're going to be prouder in yourself. Your body's going to feel better. And it makes everything else easier. When you feel better by yourself, you look in the mirror and you go, yeah, I look pretty good. And you don't have to feel vain about that. You can say you look good.
And you do. It shows you take care of yourself. I heard a statistic that we lose a man every 13 minutes. Can you talk to me about that and why is that happening?
So life has just beat them down. They got a job they don't like. Maybe they're in a marriage they can't rescue. Maybe they're on their second or third marriage by now. And they've got an ex-wife who's really giving them grief. Maybe their kids hate their guts because of that divorce. There's a lot of reasons why maybe they've made a lot of mistakes. When you're in your 50s, you've had a lot of time to make a lot of mistakes. And it just starts piling on and on. And for some reason as men, we don't talk about things. We don't talk about our feelings. Even when you go out with another friend, you don't talk about your feelings. You don't talk about what's bugging you in life. You talk about the pickup in the parking lot with the cool wheels. You talk about the next hunting trip. Those are the things you talk about as men because it doesn't show masculine strength if you're vulnerable and say, I'm really struggling on this thing right now.
Our culture has made it not okay for men to talk about it.
Oh, absolutely. Men, in general speaking, are not allowed to share their feelings. You're labeled as weak. You feel weak. Men don't cry. Boys cry. Girls cry. Men don't cry. It's just a fact. I don't know what it is. And men are very lonely. There's a loneliness epidemic in the world that men are really struggling with mental illness and mental depression, different things.
So you've said that Rebel Wealth is more than just a book, it's a movement. How do you see this becoming a movement over the next few years?
I think Rebel Wealth is a movement because men need a place to be vulnerable. The book is not going to change your life. The information in it will open your mind. It will get you thinking. And it's not intended to be this guru telling you how to fix your life. The intent is to dig into your soul, make you think, and make you think where I need to make changes. And then you reflect on your own life and you create your own plan. That's really the intent of the book. And I have guides, I have trainings, I have a workbook that goes with it to just get you thinking, because most men don't think this way. We just don't. We're thinking about the job. We're thinking about what repairs around the house and all these different things. But it's a movement, because I feel that the more we get the word out about men's health, about strength, about men leading their families in spiritual matters, it can become a movement. I have a school community. It's called Strength, Purpose, Legacy. It's building momentum. It's got a lot of great men in there right now, and we're sharing our thoughts. We're sharing our feelings on the 12 pillars, and it's gaining momentum, and it's going to become an amazing thing, and it's going to flood North America.
So the school group is a community to work alongside to help implement and hold accountable.
Right. The school community isn't necessarily a standalone, and neither is the book. They kind of work hand in hand, because the book is the recipe or the text that we refer to in the community. We post on the pillars, we talk about the foundations, and we share our thoughts and feelings on those things. It's not all serious. We do a lot of joking. We post pictures of our families. We post pictures of us working out to show how we're building our lives around the 12 pillars and how that's manifesting itself. And that the community is great. I misspoke. I said North America. I have community members from Australia, from Denmark, from the Czech Republic. I've got them from all over the world in my school community. And it's gaining momentum. And I would love to have everyone join that. If you're in that demographic of age about 40 to 55, 60, that's my thought and focus. Come join the school community, because I'd love to have you in there. I know you could contribute positively to the conversation and what's going on. I think outside those age groups, you'll get benefit out of it, but that's my focus, because that's where I'm at. And I wrote the book to me and my peers of what people my age are going through, the stage of life, but come check it out.
What kind of feedback are you getting from people that you're sharing this message with? What are people saying about it?
From friends to complete strangers that I've met, they all get choked up. They talk about, yeah, this is really needed. They themselves are like, yeah, this is something that needs to be talked about. Men's health, men's mental health needs to be talked about. And our spirituality is part of that mental wealth, our mental health, our physical. It's all bound together. You can't really isolate one pillar and say that's all I need, because that's not true. It's all interconnected, and that was the intent.
So it seems like through your message and through the movement that you're creating, that you are forming a legacy.
Absolutely.
What legacy do you want to leave through this movement?
What kind of a legacy is this making, or is this leaving? Through the school community, I don't really want any accolades for myself. This is the movement itself, Rebel Wealth. The book is for everyone else to create their own legacy. And that's the point. That's the purpose. If I'm able to help people along the way, great. More than anything, I just want my family to see that I took a stand. I didn't just coast, that I saw a need and I filled it. It may not get as big as I'm postulating here, but I'm going to make a difference in a few men's lives, and that's enough. And that will be my legacy. If I'm able to help a few men along the way, I don't really care if they talk about me. I really don't care, so long as they take my message, apply it to themselves, pull themselves out of this funk that they're in, and create their own legacy. When my kids and grandkids and great-grandkids in years to come and they go to my headstone, because I'm not going to live forever, I want them to be in tears, because they're so proud of me, because I took a stand and I went after my dreams, like I encourage them to go after their dreams all the time. And I want them to know that I made a difference in the world, that the world is a better place because I was in it and I was a part of it.
I heard you say before you have a motto about what the greatest wealth is or what real wealth is. Can you tell me about
So
that?
the Rebel Wealth motto is the greatest wealth is to become the man you are meant to be. And you can only figure that out for yourself, what kind of man you are meant to be. And through a lot of introspection, you know where you're weak, you know where you're messing up. If you're doing something that isn't feeding your soul, if you're watching inappropriate content on social media, if you're watching the wrong movies, if you got addictions, you can pull that out of yourself. And as you make those things right, you're going to feel better about coming before God and talking to him about these things. And I think that's where it's at. You get introspective, decide what you need to change. You get on your knees, you pray about it, and let the atoning sacrifice of Jesus Christ come into your life and have a relationship with your Savior. And then the change starts.
So if you could share one message, one thing with men who are struggling, what would the one thing be?
What would the one thing be that I would leave? Do something. Stop drifting. Stop feeling numb. There is a way. You're never gone too long. If you're addicted to something, draw a line in the sand and stop. If you can't stop on your own, get help. Be man enough to ask for help. It's not manly to suffer in silence. It's manly to be vulnerable, to ask for help. Be that your wife. Maybe one of your kids can help you. Maybe it's a friend, a neighbor, a leader at your church, someone you trust. Find that person, find that mentor, and open up to them and just say, look, I need to change. It's never too late. If you're on the top side of the grass, it's not too late.
Is there anything you wanted to share about Rebel Wealth or anything that we haven't discussed?
Rebel Wealth is a great movement. I love the title, Rebel Wealth. You're rebelling.
Why rebel?
Because you're not coasting through life. You're not taking the world's view of anything. You pick up a GQ magazine or a hunting magazine, they're telling you what you should be. And I think that's crap. You need to rebel against the world's view of wealth, of masculinity, of financial peace, of all these things. Define it for yourself and then make that change. That's the rebel part. That's where Rebel Wealth is founded. There's a financial component to that. There is, but it's not, that's one of 12 pillars.
If you could put up a billboard for everyone to see, what would it be? What does it say? Only a billboard.
Only a billboard. Wow. I hadn't even thought of that. I'd say the motto.
Yeah.
I would put on a billboard, the greatest wealth is to become the man you are meant to be. And put at the bottom, the12pillars.com.
Thank you for your time today. I think this is very well needed and it's going to be received well. Where can people learn more about your book?
If they want to learn more about the book and more about the movement, I have two websites. One is the12pillars.com. That's more higher level, like Rebel Wealth. It's about me. It's about the movement. There's a little blurb in there about the book. If you want to learn more about the book specifically, go to the12pillarsbook.com, and that takes you to my website. Talks all about the book. Gives a little few excerpts. Some testimonials are in there. If you're interested in the school group is a Strength, Purpose, Legacy. You could just go there. There's links on the website, or you can just go straight to school, search Strength, Purpose, Legacy, or you could search Rebel Wealth, and it will take you to that. If you want to get a hold of me, you can get a hold of me in one of those, my Instagram, YouTube, all my socials are there. DM me. Shoot me an email. I'll get back to you.
Awesome.
We'll make a change, brother.